Alright, so the first thing given today, remember, is just a thing to remember. Just memorize the thing. It's not a metronome drill. It'll take a very long time to get through. I mean, you could do it, but if you find that you have like a ton of free time, you could treat each individual line as one thing. Let's bring that up. So you got the high E string, treat that line as one separate thing. So treat it like the scales when you memorized one at a time. Memorize the E string pattern first, then work on the B string pattern second, and then once you can do both of those without looking at the page, then go to the G string pattern and so on. And remember, the high E string, well, do practice that on the low E string even though it's not on the page. It looks like he'd have another thing fit down here, but when you go to print it out, nope, be a second page. So yeah, the only thing to talk about with this is when you're ascending through all these notes, besides the open string part, so you see you got everything is in groups of threes. So when you get up to the non-open string stuff, basically once beat 2 kicks in, start each pattern with your first finger. So you get your first finger that's going to start that off, and then your first finger will start that off, first finger will start that off. So you're constantly shifting your hand up through the whole thing. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate each one. I'll scroll down so you can see it as I go. So the E string stuff would look like and sound like this. And try doing your strict alternate picking on that too. Now, just making a guess here, what some people might try and do is they'll go like down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. So basically when the hand shifting needs to start, you might instinctively want to do a downstroke each time you shift, but you don't want to do that because eventually you wouldn't be able to do stuff like that, so you're going to have to continually go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up the whole time. So try and be aware of that as you go. Maybe just do downstrokes as you memorize it and get, memorize the left hand, and then once the left hand knows what it's doing, then start working on the alternate picking. It's kind of like focus on one thing at a time instead of trying to do too much. Alright, so B string 1, here we go. Down to the G string. And if you hadn't noticed, we're just going up a full octave. So the first 3 notes are the same as the last 3 notes, just an octave higher. Okay, so now the D string. And A string. So you'll end on an upstroke if you've alternate picked correctly the whole time. And last, scroll back up, the low E. Now you are welcome to go string all of them together once you get the hang of it. Ugh, don't do that. definitely much more challenging that way. I mean, eventually I know you're going to have this stuff down so you can do just that without the mistake that I made. Let's see, moving on. So, you know what? I mentioned it, saying that this last one may be the better one to start with. Let's go ahead and have you do that, actually. So this way you start... I mean, I think this will be a good warm-up for your brain to put all those pick strokes in the proper place here. But before that, so one of the things I mentioned was just get used to picking fast until your arm starts to feel a little bit tired and wants to slow down, and then you can go ahead and stop. So when it gets to that point of being tired and it starts to slow down because your muscles are getting tense, push through it for a couple seconds, 2 or 3 seconds, and then stop. Now, when I go as hard and as fast as I can with this picking, I'll feel like a little pinch kind of thing in my elbow, and I know that's definitely time for me to stop, because if I keep pushing that, then I might be asking for injury. So if you feel a sharp twinge, like any kind of sharp pain, then definitely stop. Don't do any more like speed type stuff with that, at least for a minute or two. But you can do the metronome stuff, because that's not going to push you to that extent. But it's just one of the things that can happen when doing like the really extreme type practice right here. Because right now, I don't have that pain. I can feel my muscles tensing up right now. Like I can feel my shoulder, which is kind of weird. The shoulder really doesn't do anything. Okay, so no elbow weirdness happening there, just forearm getting tired, the shoulder for some reason. But remember the thing I was talking to you about, the pick slant stuff. You're going to practice stuff with an upward slant. So basically, it's the butt of the pick that determines the angle. So you're going to have the pick up like this. Basically, the point of the pick will go down while the butt of the pick is up in the air. So you're going to take this part of your thumb and make sure that is firmly planted on the body of the guitar. So when you start getting into the really fast stuff, you have a pivot point. If I don't have that, it's just a mess. I can't control it. It sounds like a sloppy pile of you know what. Yeah, what was I about to say? Another thing to try, this might help you get used to the activating the right muscles to pick that at that speed. And it's going to take you a while to get to that kind of speed. It's taken me many, many years to get up that fast, okay? So we'll definitely get you up over 200 beat per minute picking stuff within the first year for sure. Chords. Try doing it like 2 fingers. 2-finger power chords and 3. So I'm able to do that while maintaining that anchor point. You can move the chord around if you want, but if you kind of get used to that violent style of picking, and it's kind of violent because you're like really putting a lot of effort into it to do that, basically you just kind of shorten that motion onto the one string, and that's when you're able to start doing things like that. Of course, you got to sync up both hands, but anyway, so I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions with that, please let me know. Last thing, like I mentioned, getting the camera here, to start activating that muscle here, the brachioradialis, or BRD for short. Some people call it the brachialis. That's wrong. The brachialis is like somewhere in here. This is the brachioradialis. Anyway, so you just cock your wrist back and flex. Almost like, think about it like you're doing, that kind of flex, but you turn your arm this way, and that'll have that muscle pop out a bit. And just kind of, do this every now and then throughout the day to try and feel that, and then try and like shake a bit, shake your hand a bit when you do that, and then once you get, it takes a bit to get used to it. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that one. Well, you're probably going to see in the email already, but I'll send you a link to a video I did on how I'm able to do that type of picking. Fair warning, there's probably a bit of swearing in it, because usually on my the official YouTube channel, I just let loose. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go over this exercise first, and then we'll do the number 2. We're doing number 3 first, and then number 2. You might want to say what the rhythm is if you get lost. It's like 1E and a 2, 3E and a 4, and so on, or da 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 dum, da 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 dum. Even when you go faster, like so, you're at like 140. Da 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 dum, da 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 dum, da 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 dum, da 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 dum. 1E and a 2, 3E and a 4, 1E and a 2, or you just 1E and a 2 over and over again. Something is easier for you to say. Da 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 da. 1E and a 2, ba da 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 da, ba da 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 da, ba da 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 da, and then go into it, and so on. So yeah, like if you just let the click play, and maybe you say it, or you try and like hear it in your head how it's going to line up, and then go for it. That can be very helpful. Now let's go ahead and do the demonstration speeds here. So starting at 60. Remember, keep that part of your hand on the body of the guitar the whole time. That big old part of your thumb right there. Keep that on the body of the guitar. Here we go with 120. As far as the fingers you use on this, it really doesn't matter. I end up using my first on the first fret, then third on the third fret, and then I just slide my hand up. I mean, you could do that, but there's no real benefit to it other than just practicing your stretch. And because this is more of speed picking, just make it easy on your left hand. You can slide first finger up the whole time if you wanted to, but your picking hand is the priority on this one. Here's what it sounds like at 140. 160. Whoops, too far. 180. And I'll stop at 200. Okay. On to this one. So remember, save this for last. Practice that first and then do this one. I think this will set you up better for it. See, fingering here. What am I doing? So I'm kind of keeping a lot of hand shifting going around there. I don't use my pinky too much, so I'm going first, third, slide my hand up, first, third, slide my hand up, first, third, fourth, first. So watch the fingers I use here. So the only time I use my pinky is on the C note there, the 8th fret. It's the only time. I mean, you could do it like this. If that's easier for you, then do that. but just doing all the hand shifts, using first, third for the most part, feels easier for me. All right, 60 beats a minute. $120. $140. Again, without me clearing my throat. $160. $180. And $200. Okay. I think that covers everything. If you have any questions before you take off to the trip, let me know. So I know you got a big chunk of time from now to the next lesson, but so just do what you can, the best you can with the stuff before you leave, and then when you come back, I'm not worried about you putting in a bunch of practice time when you're away, especially using a guitar that you don't normally use. It's just, it won't be quite the same practicing on the travel guitar versus the electric guitar you usually use. And if your travel guitar has the kind of body I've seen that was like super tiny, you may not even have a place to anchor that part of your hand. So if that's not on your travel guitar, that definitely changes things. So just play whatever you want when you're just using the travel guitar. I wouldn't even worry about practice stuff. I mean, maybe do the scales, do some improv stuff with it, make some stuff up. Do some songwriting. How about that? Try some riff writing, whatnot. And write stuff down too. If you actually come up with something, write it down or video record it, because it's really easy to forget things. Alright, well, I'll see you when you get back, and yeah, done.